right, you can share multiple screen. I don't see Matt in here yet. Here he is. I might be. I see him now. He's the only Matt in here, I think. There you go. Ask to unmute.
Yo.
Hey, brother. Let's
Hey.
see here. Yeah.
I'm
All
not
right,
sure.
everybody.
Is that my Matt or somebody else? A different Matt?
That's the only Matt I know. Well, I know another Matt. Matt, is that Matt, the Matt I know from Rank and Rent? Probably. Yeah, he's not answering, so it's probably not your Matt. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pin you up here. All right, brother.
All right. Well, hey, everyone. Nice to see you guys again. For those of you who are here in the U.S. and celebrate Thanksgiving week, happy Thanksgiving week as well. Yeah, let's. I see some new names tonight, so I don't want to assume who we have and who we don't have here tonight. I'm gonna do a quick poll here real quick. So get your keyboards ready. If you're a current user of Signal Genesys, put a 1 in the chat. If you've never heard of it before, put a number 2 in the chat. Number 1. So let's do that first. Let me just see who we've got here. So far users. Eric says never heard of it before. There's more than 4 people here, so come on, guys. If this is a number 3. Number 3, that was my next question, Zacchaeus. All right. So, and then the next quick poll, just so I understand who we have here as well. Number 1, if you're an agency and you do business client work, and a number 2, if you're more rank and rent and you're building your own assets. So 1, if you're an agency, and a 2, if you're doing rank and rent. And 1 and 2 if is good. If you're doing both, that's cool too. All right. So it sounds like we have mostly at least agencies or some agencies who do both, and then a good mix of users and non-users. So what I'm going to start off with tonight, and then if you guys have questions, just pipe right in chat, ask questions, and I'll check chat and we'll go through questions as I start off with what I'm going to do. So the first thing I'm going to start off tonight with is a strategy. Since a lot of you guys are in the agency side of things, getting new clients, is always a part of the game. Sales and marketing is that big front end part of the agency. It feeds the operations and fulfillment components of the agency. So sales is always an important piece of keeping new revenue coming in. It's obviously replacing those clients who churn out is an important piece too. You got to always have new sales coming in. So I'll show you a way that you can use Signal Genesys to actually get new clients. We've had several agencies who are using the method that I'm going to show you here. Let me just get rid of this here. Who have been using the strategy that I'll show you. Basically, most agencies will go through a 2-step close process. All right. So the first step will be you're doing whatever you're doing to actually get the prospect business into an initial meeting with you, preferably in Zoom. Hopefully you guys have gone beyond just getting clients in your local area and can build a more scalable model where you meet with prospects via Zoom. So and that's how I would definitely advise it if you're not doing it that way, but most people are. So assuming you're doing a Zoom meeting in your prospecting and closing process, first step is having that kind of initial discovery meeting. That's what I call it. But that first meeting where you're doing discovery, you're finding out a little bit about that business, you're asking them some questions, and then hopefully showing them maybe some things about their website, their online presence, their rankings, and then if you use a slide deck at all, we have this inside of our knowledge base for all of our users. This is, an unbranded slide deck that you can use that at least presents, the SEO component of what you might offer as an agency, or at least what a lot of our users would offer as an agency. So, and I'm not going to go through this whole slide deck here, but if you go, you go through that, that discovery meeting with that prospect, you talk about SEO, you demonstrate their need for an agency like yours to come in and help them, because they're ranking on page 2 or 3 or 5 or wherever. They're not on page 1, and so you can demonstrate that through some simple searches, and then you just start to talk about the solution and how you fix that. This is a really good graphic that we use, and just really demonstrates why SEO versus just PPC. The majority of businesses, small businesses, don't have a $5,000 per month or higher budget. And therefore, if you're below 3,000 a month, for sure, you need to be investing in SEO, not PPC. And the reason is that the majority of leads are going to come from that. So you go through this presentation with them and demonstrate the need, show them that they're not ranking in the map pack, what it takes to fix, ranking in the map and organic rankings is signal generation, link generation, what have you. Go through, again, this is how I did it. This is, a slide deck you guys can use if you're a user. But we go through that, and then I kind of transition into, not only do we generate signals, but we're also going to generate EAT signals. And the importance of EAT signals is that, Google's looking for this, and we want to, in this process, position you, the business, as the expert in your industry, your niche, in your local area, and help build and drive authority to you as an entity, and then I'll also help build trustworthiness, build trust flow, and pass trust to your domain, to your Google listing, to those entity assets that we're going to both manage and also build for you in the process of building out your web presence as a new client of ours. Right now, this is still a prospect, right? And this is still in that discovery meeting, and you're going through this, and how I would usually then transition this into talking about EAT, because they've probably never heard of this before from another agency. And then when it comes to helping position them as the expert in their industry and helping to build their authority as an entity, we talk about content. We talk about authoring quality content as a part of that process, and then getting them published out on authoritative news sites and media sites and radio station sites as part of the process of generating EAT signals and really demonstrating authority and passing trust flow. So this is where I kind of would include then this concept or the strategy of digital PR and launching an enterprise media room as part of the overall offering to them as if they were to become a client, that this is a part of our strategy, and this is part of how we are going to position them as experts. Is we're going to deploy a media room to their website, and then we're going to take that quality content that we're going to author for them, which is really the core of EAT, right? It's about authorship, and then we're going to publish that content into their media room for them, and then as part of the digital PR strategy. And this is how we're going to satisfy EAT. This is how we're going to build their authority. This is how we're going to generate more authoritative signals. And this is how we're going to move the rankings for them, right? So I've gone through this with them. They're still just a prospect. We're just that first discovery meeting, and we're introducing with them the idea of the media room and digital PR around EAT. And then I'll even show them this slide, show them that, other companies out there like Cision will charge $15,000 per year just for a media room strategy. It's important, but obviously with the way that they price this prices a lot of the smaller business market out of being able to leverage this type of strategy and corresponding software that can help them generate authority and trust and position them as experts. I'm laying the groundwork, right, as in their discovery meeting with them, and just helping to establish some of the terminology for them: signals, digital PR, EAT signals, authorship, expertise, authority, trustworthiness. I'm showing them a competitor who charges 15 grand a year for a media room. I can talk about a little bit about our media room that we deploy for them as a prospect. If they were to become a client, we would do this for them. And this is all included as part of the overall SEO and web presence campaign that we deploy on behalf of all of our clients. So if you, Mr. Prospect or Mrs. Prospect, would become a client of ours, this is how we're going to dramatically shift what's happening currently in your current web presence. You're currently on page 2, page 4, page 10 for all these different keywords. We can see your competition here, ranking on page 1, and we know that based on the data, we know that they're the ones who are on page 1, who are on these coveted 3 spots and in these organic spots, are getting 80-90% of all the leads that are coming off of those different keyword searches that matter to you and your business. And so the way that we're going to shift this is we're going to generate signals. We're going to position you as an authority. We're going to help demonstrate expertise. And we're going to use digital PR as a part of this. We're going to launch a media room for you. And, if you would like to start to really change the current way that you're ranking, by all means, let us know, and we'd be happy to put a proposal together. All right, now I shut up. Let's see if they have questions. Typically they say, yeah, well, what does this cost? Well, I'm glad you asked, right? So when they ask you, what does it cost? That's not the time for me to go out, well, this is exactly what it costs. I'd ask some more questions, and then I'd say, well, look, I'm glad you are interested in hearing more. Let us put together an estimate for you, and then we'll schedule a follow-up meeting with you. Let's go ahead and schedule it now. We'll get the estimate together for you, and then we'll come back together and discuss, the costs and the options that we have for you. Okay. So everyone says, yes, that sounds good. We schedule that meeting right here and now. We get it booked in the schedule for next week. In the meantime, we're going to put together our estimate in our, invoicing or proposal software, get all that ready to go. And now here's how you're going to use Signal Genesis as a part of this strategy to get them from going of being just a prospect to being a closed customer who's going to write that check or give you the credit card on that next meeting and give you the green light. So not only do you show up at that next meeting with an estimate, which is what I did for years and years, and we would close a really good percentage of those that we met with and had, would go through the estimate, the invoice, proposal, whatever you want to call it. But now what we don't really do this anymore ourselves because we're not dealing with businesses directly, but agencies are using this strategy. And this is what I would do. I would go into your Signal Genesis account. I would go into entities, and I would add this new prospect as an entity here in my account. Okay, so I'm not going to go in and add a whole account here, but I'm going to add prospect's exact company name. So before we go and we meet with them on that second close meeting with the proposal and all that, me or one of our team members would go and we would add them into our Signal Genesis account, and we'd open up their Google My Business listing, maybe in a separate tab on their website, and get all their information and just copy and paste it over, right? Really quick. And it takes us probably 10 minutes to build this out and just fill this all out with as much information as we can get from their GMB listing and their website. So once this is all done, now let's just say we've got, a new prospect in our account. Let's just say Nurclex Healthcare was our prospect. Okay. So now we've got them in here as an entity. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to launch a media room for them in advance of us meeting on the close meeting. Okay. So I'm going to come into, and I'm going to do this now. Mind you, they're a prospect, so I don't have access to their website yet. I can't deploy the media room directly on their website because I don't have admin access to it. They're still a prospect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enable tier 2. Okay. And when I enable tier 2 of the media room app channel, I'm going to get all 3 options here to deploy the media room. And I'm going to pick the hosted domain, and I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to deploy the media room, NERCLEX Healthcare Institute. And this is going to be on the mediaroom.app domain that our software system provides you. All right, so let's make sure we have it all spelled right. NERCLEX Healthcare Institute. Yep, all good. And I'm going to go ahead and launch this media room now. Takes about 5-6 seconds. It's going out to Amazon. It's pulling an SSL certificate and deploying this on an Amazon CloudFront server. And now we can see the media room is ready to go. So Prospect's media room is now live. I don't need access to their website because I enabled tier 2 of our app channel, the media room app channel. And then using the hosted domain version, I can launch the media room on that subdomain of the mediaroom.app domain that we provide you. Now what we can do is we can go to NERCLEX and we can go to their website. And we can quickly just, grab some content from their website and do a quick press release. Okay. So what I'm going to do now as a prospect, before I go in and I meet with them on that close meeting, is now that I've got their media room deployed on the subdomain, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go to content, go to press releases, and I'm going to create a new press release from scratch. And I'm going to pick NERCLEX. And it pulls in all their information. I'm going to go ahead and select these so that we can create the same as link icons on all the media sites. We see, okay, we got their Google My Business listing in here. So now we're just going to go in and we're going to create a quick press release about NERCLEX. As a prospect, I'm just going to create one for them. I'm going to grab a content from their website or maybe their GMB listing or whatever. And I'm just going to do a quick press release about them as a company, maybe about their website, about their team, whatever. You're just going to really simple and easy, copy and paste for the most part. The about page is a great way to grab content. So I might just come in here and just literally copy all this, come in here to step 2, drop this right in here into our text editor. Maybe mark this up with H tag. Correct the spacing here, right? Really quick, easy stuff, okay? You're gonna have probably a half an hour total invested in them between adding them as an entity and then deploying a quick media room for them on the subdomain, and then grabbing about content and maybe pulling in some images. So we might see if we can, these are lighthouse images or lightbox images. That's a video. Yeah, I can't get the image address on those, so we're gonna have to find that one. So we can take that image in here and we can drop that image right here through image source link. Okay, there's our image. We always want to make it less than or equal to 525 pixels. Put our our keywords here or keyword here there, and then drop that image in there, and then also mark that up as an image here so that we're generating an image signal there. So go ahead and build this out real quick, right? If we have links in here, which I don't know that we do right now, so we would take this, link it to their about page there. Always open it up in a new window so you don't bounce. Again, keyword. All right, now we got a link there. So we would, make sure we got our anchor tags with no follow or do follow. Every time you add a new link in here, in the body, you're going to add, the link will show up here in anchor tags, and then you can select that to be either no follow or do follow. You'll get up to 3 do follows on our platform that will then generate out onto the live news sites as well. Typically summary and blog summary, I just copy and paste a piece of the content, here for our summary. So I might take that, copy that, and then come down here for the summary and paste that there. You get the idea, all right? I build this out and I'm going to do a press release. Okay. Now depending on the plan that you're on, it's going to cost you either $30 or all the way down to $10, depending on the plan that you're on. But at most, it's going to cost you $30 to go ahead and run a press release, deploy a media room, and then run a press release to that media room in advance of meeting with this prospect at the close meeting. You show up at the close meeting and you go through your estimate. And then at some point, you decide whether it's upfront or at the end after you go through the numbers, or before you go through the numbers or after you go through the numbers. You then also show them your media room and you show them the press release. Now I'm going to go to, I'll just go to Vet Pause media room just to show you. Here you'd have only one article instead of multiple here, but you'd click on the one article that you just did for them. You'd show them the media room. You go through, a little bit of the article, and then you'd also show them the Google listing, whatever, and you show them the in the news section. Now you can show them, hey, we got you published out on these different news sites, and you can click on a couple of them, show them, oh, we got you. So, this one is actually, I guess, a little old and or went to archive already. So we'd show them, a Fox site or an NBC site, maybe a couple of them, and then help them recall. This is how we're positioning you as the expert. This is how we're driving each signals. This is a component. It's not the whole thing. This is a component of what we do to differentiate you in the marketplace, to drive authoritative signals to your website and to your Google listing. And this is also how we drive or build each signals and position you as an expert, drive authority, and build trust. And you've already done this for them now in advance of them even paying you $1 as a client yet. So they're still a prospect. But what happens here is there's an immense transfer of value or great perception of value. Obviously, you're doing something for them without charging them for it, which demonstrates a lot of goodwill. Most agencies would never do this for anyone if they're just a prospect. This is only something that you do typically for a client. It's something that has obviously the perceived value of not only the media room, but then if you could go and you could get pricing of different press releases and what people charge, to do that. So, anywhere from $500 to $1,500 per is typically what people are charging in the retail marketplace for just one press release that is going to be executed like this. That's without the media room. The media room is obviously something separate and different. And you've already gone through that in that previous prospecting meeting, the first meeting. And so now you can come back to this and, share with them again the value of a media room, the value of a press release. This is how we're different, and what you can guarantee. I can guarantee you that if you deploy this as a strategy in your prospecting and sales process, your close ratios will go up. How much? I don't know, 20, 30%. For a lot of people, that brings them to near 100%, because most people agencies that I've talked to are usually at between 50 and 70% close ratio as it is, right? So if you just deploy this as an extra layer on now into your prospecting process, your close ratios will go up to probably near 100%, because no one's ever done this for them before as an agency doing it for a prospect business. Okay, so I see we've got some things in here. So I'll go ahead and answer questions now. And if you guys do have questions about what I just shared, put that in the chat as well, and we'll just kind of go from there. If you guys have questions about our platform, put them in chat. I'll be happy to go into the software and answer questions that way if there's questions in that regard. Alfredo says, you get this with all the service packages, or is there different levels when you are talking the ground worth? Alfredo, I'm not sure I understand your question completely. Maybe you could clarify for me when you're asking, do you get this with all the service packages, or is there different levels? If you're asking that about Signal Genesys, you can go to our website. I'll put this in this link here also for you guys. we have, I don't know if your question was regarding our pricing, our packages at Signal Genesis, or if this was for a question related to something else, Alfredo. So if you can clarify for me, that would be great. But we do have 4 different plans or levels, really 3 different levels, but we have 4 different plans that you can get into on our platform. So go ahead and use that pricing link. And if you have further questions about that, let me know. Patrick says, Lane, do you have a recording on you giving the discovery call and the second call in the knowledge base? I don't. I don't have something like that. What I do have is well, you'll have the recording of me just kind of going through what I just went through, which is just a really quick kind of abbreviated version of me going through this slide deck, Patrick. Let me just move these windows a little bit so I can navigate through chat. I didn't go through all of this, but I did go through most of this. I do have a replay of a class that I taught in the spring training last year that went through that prospecting, that presentation with a potential prospect. So ask me for that if you want, Patrick. I can put that in the knowledge base. I don't think I have that in the Signal Genesis knowledge base, but I can share that for sure. That's me going through that first presentation with a prospect, that discovery meeting, if you will. I always did when I was in B2B, meaning I had my legacy agency. I would do a 2-step close. It would be a discovery call and a close call, or a discovery meeting and a close meeting. And so implementing this strategy with deploying a media room for them and doing a press release for them between the discovery meeting and the close meeting, and then showing up at the close meeting with a media room deployed and a press release published and in the news section populated. That means you got to do it about 2 days ahead of time before your close meeting in order for all that to kind of have gone through its process properly, and that in the news section to be populated properly here. That takes about 48 hours for our crawlers to go out, validate everything, and then link it properly here in the news section. You also saw when I clicked on WBOC, it took me, I think, to archive. So we do have an automatic archiving system in place as well. And so once and or if the media site archives that article off of the live news site, our crawlers identify that and then automatically link or relink or redirect the link from the live news site out to the archive version of that story. So you never have a 404 error page happening on the linking that happens here on in the news section in the media room. Now, mind you, for those of you guys who are not Signal Genesis users, we have in here the ability to deploy a media room in 3 different ways. Okay, we can deploy the media room in the branded integration version, and that would mean we need access to their website. Once we have admin access to their website, whether it's WordPress or a DDoS site or a GoDaddy site or a Shopify site, whatever, we would come in here, we would create the media room code, and then we would take this, actually do an enhance there, and then we would copy this code, and then we would go deploy this media room to a new page on their website. What that looks like live, let me go to the VetPaw site since I was using that before. If you go to media room here, this is on their live news site. So you can see, I'm sorry, on their live website, not news site. The media room here is hosted by that 2 lines of code, okay? And that 2 lines of code then powers this media room. But we also have this media room out on the hosted domain version as well. And when we have both of these versions deployed, which is optimal, then our software will work hand in hand with the other versions of the media room, and our software will work to drive the root authority to the target domain. So we're working to push as much authority and trust flow to the root domain or the root media room on the root domain. So, and then you can always deploy the media room in the WWM version as well, which is then you need access to that company or entity's DNS records so that you can add 2 CNAME records to deploy the WWM version of that that media room. Here is one of them. So here's our Signal Genesis media room on WWM. So we can deploy these media rooms in 3 different methods. 2 to 3 of them are preferable versus just simply 1. Obviously, the preferred one is to have the media room deployed on their target website, their root domain, so that we can drive the authority to the root domain, and then to have at least one of the other versions of the media room deployed as well. But that's not going to happen until after they become a client and you get either admin access to their website or access to their DNS records to add the CNAME. So, okay. Alfredo says, are all features available on every plan? Yes. So that's a good question, Alfredo. On our platform, yes, you're going to have everything but white label, which is not live yet. I believe we're still going to have it live before Black Friday. Our main developer who does all of our branching and pushing to live production is down with a serious case of kidney stones. And so he's been down for over a week. So that put a lot of things on hold. Even though things are done, he's the one that pushes things live. So we've had to put a pause on things for over a week now while he's healing up, and he's actually getting a second surgery tomorrow. So prayerfully everything goes well for him, and then we'll be back up and running next week. Matt told me that we're still hoping to have our white label instance still live before Black Friday. But other than the white label instance, Alfredo, all of the other features are available on all plans. The difference from plan to plan is as you go from free or no cost access to a paid account, your usage costs are going to go down. Okay, so usage costs go down as you change from grow plan to scale plan or from scale plan to elite plan. So we always have 2 components to our pricing. We have your access cost, and then we have usage cost. But other than that, yes, all features are available on all plans. Patrick says, Lane, what are other companies charging for a media room? A comparison during the discovery call will be nice. Well, what I recommend is use Cision, Patrick, and I give you guys this. You can get it too. You can just go to Google and just type in PR Newswire pricing guide. And I don't think 2021 is available as a PDF. I think the CDN one here, it is now available. So the 2021 pricing guide is available via PDF. And I don't know if you can see this because I'm sharing my Chrome browser, but you can open up that PDF, and that PDF will display on page 4 the media room cost, which is $15K. I have verified that is what Cision or PR Newswire charges for a media room. There are some other media room software companies out there, not many. All of them charge, I think on the low end about $400 a month, $350 to $400 per month, and on the high end, well, Cision, if you break it out monthly, is about, what does that come out to? About $1,100 a month or so, $1,200 a month. That does not include press releases though. So that only includes the media room. Some of the other media room software companies only have media room software. They don't even have integrations into news networks or what have you to be able to actually do press releases or news syndication. So that's a kind of a break with some of the other softwares that are out there that have media room software, but it really is a kind of a standalone media room software that you can just kind of manually publish to And then outreach is kind of up to you in those applications. Cision has what we have in that they have a direct media room software deployment integration. They have two options, both on your domain, your target domain, or on a subdomain. We have actually three options, whereas they only have two. Mind you, their two options that are on hosted domains aren't even on SSL. So they have not even been able to achieve that hurdle. If you go to Zillow's media room, which this is a Cision or a PR Newswire media room, you can. Oh, they actually finally have it on SS. Well, it's not fully SSL. So that just a few months ago, it didn't even have a partial SSL. So looks like they're trying to overcome that now. But I mean, they're charging $15K a year, and they're still trying to figure out how to overcome SSL. Okay, so Patrick, to your point or your question, I would use PR Newswire. This is legitimate pricing. This is what they charge, and then use this to establish the value. And then obviously you're not going to charge them as much, or you're going to include this as part of your overall bundle. And that just is going to just really pile on with the value of what you're providing them versus what you're charging them. So use this because it's going to give you the highest pricing, allows you to come in below that or well below that and still be generating a lot of perceived value and real value. And at the same time, also giving you stickiness, because mind you, we are hosting this for you. You are hosting this for the client. So when these media rooms are being hosted, by our software, for you, and you're doing it for the client, whether it's the integrated version or the external hosted version, they're both being hosted by our software. It's just that the integrated version is just running off of 2 lines of code, but we're still hosting this. If that client ever decides to cancel with you, well, if they stop paying you, are you going to keep paying for their hosting of their website, their media rooms, and what have you? The answer is typically no. And so when you delete that client from inside your account inside Signal Genesys, their media rooms go down, the content goes down, all the links out through all the news sites, all that integration, all of that just simply comes down. And so that gives you quite a bit of leverage in the relationship with your clients in terms of the I would say the equation that they have to or the calculus that they have to go through to decide whether or not they want to keep paying you. If they ever decide that they are or contemplate canceling with you, maybe it's because they've been hit up by somebody else and offered a much lower price or whatever, and they start to contemplate canceling with you. In that calculus of canceling, they should know that these are all things that would not continue being hosted on their benefit for their benefit if they cancel with you. So we're providing you guys that comes to that power of leverage to keep clients loyal to you, because the results that come off of this are also dependent on all that being live. So all right, Aaron says, look through all of the Signal Genesys content about how to get the most out of the platform. Has there been any updates, new findings since all of that was filmed? Not really. We have, there's different videos in our YouTube channel and in the knowledge base on how to activate Reddit and Twitter, how to activate Google reviews. I don't have anything new on knowledge base or help center yet. It's basically, I don't know if it's been pushed live for everybody yet because of Christian being out. I think that's one of the things that was being ready to be pushed live for everyone, and it's just not done yet because of his health condition. So I would say probably not, Aaron. Everything is pretty much status quo. White label instance is going live, like I'm hoping so this week. That's a full instance of our software platform on your own domain, with your own API keys for the different app channels, so that you truly have an insulated firewalled instance of our software running for just you and your clients. And with that will come some basic, and then to come some more advanced user permissions you'll be able to give your clients then access to their accounts on your instance of our software. So that's coming really, really soon. Again, I'm hoping this week still. I don't have a final answer on that yet, but trying to think if there's anything else that's new that we haven't really covered yet. Knowledge base and help center. We've talked a little bit about this before here, even on these Tuesday night sessions. That's a deep integration with Teamwork Support Desk to run both knowledge base and support, integrated support on your agency site and or your clients' sites with that app channel being activated. But I don't have any videos on that yet, Aaron. So that would be one thing that's to come soon. Zacchaeus says, I've heard that you should link future press releases back to the first press release you make. How do you go about doing that? Yeah, that's basically what we call stacking press releases, which is so in your Signal Genesys account, when you have an account, if you go into our knowledge base and you go to the Getting Started checklist, which is in the Getting Started category, step 5 gives you access to this Google Doc, this blueprint. Okay, this blueprint doc just goes through the basic steps of doing a press release stack. And so you'll see here, right here, to your point, Zacchaeus, link to the media room article URL of press release article number 1 and your GMB listing. So in the second press release, okay, in press release number 2, we're going to link to the media room article URL of press release number 1. And we're typically going to do that in our first do follow link. So what we would do is, let's just say, let me use Quantum Agency as an example. Let's rid of some of this here real quick. So let's just say, well, I did it in the so there's also a case study down here, Zacchaeus. This 3-part case study series in here. I actually did that very thing. I stacked press release 2, 3, and 4, or articles 2, 3, and 4. I stacked them and linked them to the previous press releases. So I did that stacking method. And basically all we do is we go to the media room. And so let's just say this is, let's just say for hypothetical reasons, this is press release number 1, and this is press release number 2. What I would do is I would go to press release number 1. I would grab this long URL here, copy it. And then when I go into Signal Genesys to do press release number 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link to that URL in press release number 2. So I would come in here to my press release, and maybe here in this first link, I would I would insert my link here, and I would link to my previous press release URL in the media room right here. Okay. And so now what I've done is I've kind of daisy chained and linked press release number 2, and I've linked it to press release number 1. Press release number 1 is strategically linked probably to a GMB listing and a target page that I want to rank on that website. And then press release number 3, we would simply go and grab another media room, our media room article URL for press release number 2, and we would drop that into press release number 3 as the first do file link, and so on and so forth. And I kind of go through that in this case study, and it's also taught right here on page 1 of this blueprint, which it's really simple. It's just linking to the previous press release. Now, what you want to do is link to the media room article URL version of the press release. Do not link it out to one of these news sites. Okay. If you go get one of these news sites here and grab the article URL of it, and you put it into press release number 2 as the link, there's 2 things are going to happen. Number 1, you would never want to do that even if it did get published, because this article is going to go offline. It's going to get archived at some point in the future. And I don't want my original article URLs to link to a page that's going to end up being a 404 error page at some point in the future. That's always going to happen. So don't do it. More importantly, now the news sites are running a new algorithm. And if they see any link in the article being submitted or press release being submitted that links to any of the news sites, it's going to automatically flag it and decline it. So we've had some agencies recently put in help tickets like, hey, why didn't I get any distribution on that last article? We've gone in and inspected it, and they've got a link to, say, this WRDE domain, and they're linking to that URL in their new press release. Don't do that. That's going to cause an automatic decline, and even if it did get through, you're going to end up linking to a 404 error page at some point in the future, and that's not ideal either. What you want to do is you want to drive domain authority. You want to drive all the juice to the root domain, and you want to drive it to therefore the media room article URL that is in the media room, right on the target domain. So use these links and use these in your press release stacking. Okay, don't use the news sites. That's what I'm trying to say. Greg says, any benefit to putting a link to my website in these lead gen PRs? I'm not sure I know what you mean by that, Greg. So when you say any, maybe clarify what you mean by that in terms of putting a link to your website in these lead gen PRs. If you're doing it for rank and rent, and you're doing these press releases for a rank and rent website and asset, I'm assuming maybe you're saying, should I also, is there any benefit for me driving one of those links to my agency website? The answer would be potentially, sure. I mean, but I'm not sure that's the question you're asking either. So I'll let you clarify if you can. Alfredo says, I asked that question at the beginning of the presentation when you were speaking of the groundbreaking services. Okay. Jeff says, how do we get a copy of the slide deck, please? Get an account on our platform, and all users that have an account on our platform get access to it in the knowledge base. All you got to do is go up to the knowledge base, go to the marketing and sales, category, and then the link is right here. Ariel says, how do you handle a client who requests that their press releases be distributed to certain news channels? Is this possible? On our platform, no, it's not possible. And if somebody asks that, then they're asking that question for a different reason. Maybe they want vanity PR. If it's just that they're asking, well, can I get these press releases, picked up on our local news channel here in, Austin, Texas, and wouldn't that be better for me anyway? I always validate the question. That's a great question. And certainly from a relevancy standpoint, if we could get your articles picked up on all the local news stations, that's great. But that's a different type of strategy. It's a very manual, one-by-one process that we don't do. We're not doing this for traditional PR purposes. We're doing this for digital PR and SEO and web presence purposes. And when it comes to doing it for those reasons or purposes, we're trying to drive more authority to your entity and your entity's assets, mainly your GMB listing and your website. And when it comes to driving authority to your website to make sure that your website and your GMB listing start to rank on page 1, so that your phone calls start increasing and your traffic starts to increase, which is ultimately what's going to end up putting more money in your pocket. For that purpose, we're doing this and executing this in a very strategic way. And we're using a national network of news sites, not a local network of news sites, because we actually want to drive authority in from all sorts of sites from all over the country, not just hyper-local. Yes, we'll be doing some things on a hyper-local basis as well. But as far as the PR goes, we're not focusing this on local PR. That's not why we're doing this strategy. That's how I would explain it to a business who has a legitimate question around that. Now, if they really truly want PR for the vanity or the visibility, potentially, the clicks or click-throughs that they might get from being on Yahoo Finance, if they're a financial company, or one of the major outlets, again, that's not what our platform is built for. And therefore you should seek out a more traditional type of PR service, but expect to pay significant, a fair amount to significantly more for those premium outlets. But again, you're not going to get the juice and the authority that you're going to get from our platform doing it for more of the vanity purposes. But if that's what the client wants, and you got to find a resource for that. Aaron, all you got to do is sign up for at least a free Grow account. Same thing with you, Jeff. If you want a copy of that presentation, I don't provide that to just anyone. It's for our users, but you can get a no-cost access account. Just all you got to do is apply for it, and then we do a quick, validation to make sure you are who you say you are. I don't open up our Grow Plan account to just the public at large. We do reserve our platform for agencies only, or SEO. If you're an SEO agency, it's fine, but agencies only, and only for proper usage. So we screen those who are in our Grow Plan and all of our plans, but especially the Grow Plan. But go ahead and sign up now, fill out the quick application, and just mention that you're part of Williams Group, and put in all your agency information in the form here. And I'll get you guys approved for your Grow Plan account. And then you can also access the presentation at that time as well. Matt was, I see Matt's here with me now too. Matt answered Alfredo's question a little bit more. He said, we do have custom media site preference selection on the roadmap. I would say sometime mid to late Q1 of next year, we're going to have some more media channels, distribution channels as options. But that's never been the focus. We're doing a lot more focus on non-PR types of stuff now, non-news types of stuff, than we are purely doubling down on the press release component of it. We built this to be a signal generation engine, not a press release engine. So we are really not a press release platform. We use press releases as a vehicle to generate authoritative ranking signals to rank a GMB listing and its corresponding website. That's the purpose of our platform. PR and some of the vanity PR that you get as a secondary benefit or outcome, but it's not the purpose of what we're doing or why we're doing it. Okay. Patrick says, some of us here on the call are not yet members of Signal Genesys. I am a member, but I wonder if there is a Black Friday deal of some kind for Williams Group Lane. Some of us are eager for such a deal. Good question, Patrick. The answer is yes and no. The no part, we are not discounting our plans at all, nor will we ever. We're not that kind of platform. Our software has the same value today as it did yesterday, and therefore Black Friday deals, we're not going to discount the cost of our platform. So our plans are not going to be on any kind of a special deal. We are going to have Black Friday deals on credit packages for all of our members. So I'm hoping that that's going to go live tomorrow, the credit packages, and still hoping again to have the white label available, white label instance available for all of our users as well. And that will be also on a Black Friday Cyber Monday deal. Our regular plans will not be, and never will, or nor will they ever be discounted. They are what they are. They may go up in price, especially our lifetime access, but no, we don't have. So that's the no part. The yes part is yes, we will have some pretty awesome credit package deals. So if you want to stock up on credits for usage for 2022 between hopefully tomorrow, I'll alert everyone via our Facebook group. We'll probably throw out an email to everyone as well. Once the credit packages are live, they will actually be live inside of your own account. So you'll come down here to credits and you'll see our Black Fridays through Cyber Monday credit package deals. You'll see them properly labeled. Those will be available from, again, I'm hoping tomorrow, and then they'll be available all the way through Cyber Monday. On Tuesday morning, they'll get taken down, and that'll be it. So those 4 days or so, the credit packages will be live. We're going to have at least one buy one, get one free. Like I think it's 2,500 credits, get 2,500 free. So there'll be some deals like that for sure. And so hopefully that answers your question. And there'll be a deal on what the white label instance as well. Greg says, I've had some interest in just doing PRs for real estate listings, not a full SEO package. Of course, that sucks, but still would like to make a sale, but no idea how to price Signal Genesys for just the PR. Would you advise PR sales as a standalone service, or would I be wasting my time if not providing SEO? Any advice on price range for that? I think there would definitely be benefit from running a media room on a real estate listing site, and then for each new listing, kind of supercharging the listing page with a press release about the listing. Certainly the real estate agent will have some value in showing the listing client some publications of their home on whatever, different news sites and all that. From an SEO standpoint, yeah, you're going to drive ranking signals to the listing page or whatever else you want to rank around that listing. So maybe the listing page is on a Zillow, maybe it's on the core site, maybe it's both, who knows. But most certainly doing a press release, one article, Greg, it's most definitely light SEO. I mean, you can still call it SEO. I mean, GoDaddy calls citations SEO. Okay, so they're selling that at $3 a month as SEO or whatever they charge. So you can absolutely sell it as SEO. How much weight you put on it or how you sell it is up. Now, what I would likely do with that, Greg, is layer in the media room and digital PR strategy as part of this, and just say, we're going to position you as the expert, the expert realtor in, your farm area, your market area. And so every time you have a new listing, it's going to be X. That's part of your question is how much should I price it at? I would say $250 to $500 per. That may or may not include writing. It really depends on, whether you want to layer that in or not. PR Newswire charges basically $450 for equivalent distribution, just a distribution that on a 400-word press release. If you have a 750-word press release, that same distribution now ends up being like $800. Just the distribution, not including the writing. So, the average realtor is probably not going to be spending north of $500 on a listing just to do a press release. But if you said, look, I'll sell you 12 press releases, one per month, or however many you want to do, I'll just sell you 12 in bulk, and I'll do it for, $3,000, $250 per. If you want to do, 6 of them, I'll sell them to you for, $350 per or $400 per. Say, I'll do 6 for $2,500, or 12 for $3,000, or something like that. Make it lead them to the bulk buy. And now you get a bulk buy at $3K for 12 press releases and $250 per, and they get a media room that goes along for the ride with that. And you can say that's that's worth $15K per year. And you could obviously include that as part of your per price. But Greg, certainly $250 on the low end, $500 on the higher end. I mean, I know there are some people who charge $750 to $1,000 for a standalone press release that includes the writing, say 1,000 words or so, and the distribution and the media room. It really is all about the market, who you're selling it to, how you position it and sell it, and all that. But $250 on the very, very low end and upwards from there. And I don't think you'd be wasting your time with SEO and ranking signals if you're truly trying to rank that listing page for that new, real estate listing, in the SERPs. Looks like I spilled the beans already tonight. Matt, if you have anything you want to add, by all means, you should be able to unmute yourself, I think. Alfredo says, can you speak on backlinks? How many do you get and what's the DR level? I lost connection. Don't know if the question was submitted successfully. Sure, that's a good question, Alfredo. So let me go to this is just two of the network sites here. They average from 45 to 85. That's the range, Alfredo, in terms of DADR of the sites that are in the network. If we go to, this is not the full network here. This is a random sample of the network here. But you're going to see, a DA of about 40 or 45 on the low end, up to about a high end of 80 to 85. Obviously, that can fluctuate and change, and there's new sites that come in and some sites that we lose, and that's just that happens kind of on a regular basis. But that's the average range. You can get up to 3 do follow links in our platform per article. So when we come in here and we look at the per article basis here, you come in, you add your links in here, you get your anchor tags down here.
Yes, some days no. Some days I'm white and coral and well, but not all.
Please mute yourself if you.
Let's see here. So you've launched. Reason why we have you on here. You've launched.
I see who's talking here.
Second, Devon, you'll go and set up in the Philippines. Yeah. Once we have everything set up, I'm gonna let everybody know. But I'm waiting for COVID to get done. So Ollie had.
Zacchaeus, can you mute yourself, Zacchaeus?
You want a demo or do you want to shoot screen?
There we go. That was Jeff. Sorry, guys. So if we put another link in here, just to show you 2 links. All right, now we got, okay, there we go. So now we got 2 links in here. You see that we have 2 links down here under anchor tags. So if we click on anchor tags, that displays the links that are in the article, and we can choose those to be do follow or no follow. You're going to get up to 3 do follow links, Alfredo. And so let's just, on the low end, there's 40 network, there's about 50 network sites, but let's just say you get it published on 40. If you've got 3 do follow links on 40 sites, it's about 120 do follow links that you'll get from that one article out on the network of 40 sites. We typically use 2 do follows in our SOPs. We don't use the third one. We focus the do follows on typically an inner page that we're trying to rank on the target site and the GMB listing, like the CID link, the place ID link, the knowledge graph link, or the typical general share link. We'll drive, a do follow link to one of those, plus a link to an inner page on the site. That's typically going to be a relevant service page or a relevant location page that we want to drive up in the SERPs. And so that's where our 2 do follows will go in our SOPs, but we do give you up to 3. Chris says, can I pick and choose the links I want to submit with a service? Yes, absolutely. You in here in the body, you can put links to basically whatever you want to link to. Whoops, come on, let go here. So whatever you can have anchor text optimized links that go to wherever you want to choose, as long as you're not linking to prohibited types of sites. So if you're linking to a pornographic site, no, you can't do that. But by and large, yes, you can link to wherever you want to link to. It could be a Facebook page, a LinkedIn profile, an inner page on the target website, a blog article, wherever you want to link to, you can link to using the platform. We built this for agencies to be able to do some of that strategy on their own, and then a lot of our software that is doing things for you automatically that you don't have to do. So it's a nice blend, I would say, of you being able to pick and choose your strategy, where you want to send your links, how many, things like that. And if you follow the blueprint and you really follow the page 2 of this, which really gets into how to actually write and structure your content, the more you follow this, the more signals you'll generate from that article in our platform. So Greg says, clarification, you took down the example medium. I wondered if I left it up and had a link to my agency website, would that be helpful to my ranking activities in that case, if they didn't hire me? I think what you're saying, Greg, is if I had an example media room up for a prospect, did a press release for them, they didn't become a client, could I leave that media room up for them and still have that link? I probably wouldn't necessarily. I mean, if you wanted to, fine, and there's nothing wrong with it, and get the mileage out of at least that one press release that you did do for them because you paid for it. And even if they don't become a client, sure, if you had a link in that PR. Now, one thing you can always do. To that point, Greg, let's just say you're doing this press release for the prospect. So going back to that prospect kind of scenario, down here under publish information, you can choose to display your agency name in the press release content, okay? When you check that, it's going to actually put your agency in as the publisher of this press release versus using the client entity, or maybe in this case, the prospect's entity as the source. So you can take the credit for the content in this respect, Greg, by checking this box here, and then that's going to basically create the press release with your agency as the publisher versus the entity, and you're going to get more benefit that way by using that checkbox. So in that prospect scenario, that's probably a really good way to execute this, to your point, Greg. Okay. Ariel says, for those of us who are waiting for their growth plan to be approved, will we be able to take advantage of the credit package deals? Yes, Ariel. And I'll for everyone who's in Williams Group, I try to expedite your approval same day if possible, if not very quickly. So I'll get you expedited. Just mention that you're in Williams Group, and I'll get you expedited for your growth plan account. And yes, you'll be immediately available to take advantage of the Black Friday, Cyber Monday credit package deals. Aaron says, if I have a cluster blog post on my blog, could I pretty much copy this as a press release? Probably pretty much, yes. Aaron, I would recommend that you, well, first of all, make sure that if that blog article is written in first person, it will need to be tweaked and changed to be third person. That depends on how the writer wrote the blog article to begin with, but oftentimes blog articles are written in first person, references to the company references themselves to as me or us or we, or the writer references to themselves as I, myself, whatever. Those need to be changed to third person references. Other than that, yes, you could theoretically just copy and paste and do it as a press release as long as it's in third person. You'll probably get a little bit more benefit if you curate that content a little bit. So take that blog article and curate it, and then maybe select here, display original source as in press release content, and then put the link to the blog article right here as a source link, and then like literally source the press release to the blog article, but curate that content a little bit. And what I mean by that is copy and paste the whole article here, but then come in here and add some additional content. Maybe add an introductory paragraph, maybe add something at the end, mix it up a little bit, curate it a little bit. If you want to get the most mileage out of it. But yeah, theoretically, you could copy and paste an exact as long as it's in third person. If it's in first person, it will get declined, and you'll have to go back and make those changes before it'll actually get published out on the news sites. So make sure at least do that one little tweak if the blog article is in first person. Aaron says, follow-up question, how do you pick the content that the press release is written about? Well, that's up to you. Obviously, it should be relevant content that's targeted to your focus keywords. As far as picking the content, well, that's up to you as the writer, or you having a writer do that. When we're writing content, we give you the kind of list here. You got to get your target keywords are what drive the content. So if you have target keywords that you're trying to rank for, but you don't know exactly which keywords are the best to use and what have you, that's where you got to get, research done right. Whether you do it yourself or you pay somebody else to do it, that's up to you. Once you have your target keywords dialed in, then it's a matter of building content around those target keywords. I have a process that I follow, and I give it to you here in my blueprint. And then I also give you the research and writing tools that I actually use. So these aren't the only ones. There's plenty of other ones that you could use too. There's no right or wrong here. But I wrote an article today. I use conversion.ai a little bit, jarvis.ai. I really don't like it a whole lot, but some people like rave about it. But I use it a little bit, got a little bit of content from it. What I really like to do, quite honestly, is I take my target keyword. So let's just say my target keyword was roofing contractor. It's roofing contractors. What I like to do is I like to use the people also ask to generate my content. So what I'll do in writing an article is I'll take my target keyword, and maybe it's, roofing contractors Raleigh, I'll come in here, I'll see if I get people also ask. In this case I didn't, so I would just back out and just use the root, the root seed keyword. And then I would, copy this and use that as a section heading, and then I would fill in content about roofing costs. I oftentimes will just use what Google gives me here, and then I'll just kind of tweak it and change it up a little bit. And I just quickly build out content based on the PAA. And that is also in here. So step 5, use the people also ask questions from the target keyword in search as your section headings, and then answer the question that you just put as a section heading below in the paragraph content. So I use people also ask questions kind of as a guide to writing the structured content, because obviously Google's going to love that relevancy of the PAA questions being directly in your content. And that's in the blueprint. How big should the images be in here? Again, if we go back to this image here, it should be no more than 550 pixels wide. If it's more than that on some of the news sites, it's gonna get a little odd and weird. Some of the news sites don't have the best formatting, and so keep it at 550 pixels or less, and you should be safe. And our system, when you bring in an image through a URL, if it's larger, it'll size it to whatever the original image is on the source URL. So if it's 1500 pixels wide, it's gonna do that. Just all you got to do is go in the width and resize it, and our system will automatically resize it with the same aspect ratio, and there you go. So Patrick says, would I be open to recording a role play discovery call and second call and putting it in a knowledge base? That would really help me. Yeah, I'm open to it, Patrick. Let's discuss it. Aaron says, any tips for managing your anchor text ratios here? Certainly be careful with it. That always needs to be part of the equation. Don't over optimize anchor text. Understand that whatever you put in here is going to duplicate 30, 35, 40, 45 times out on the news sites. Also, keep in mind that those news site articles are going to purge. That will be dependent upon what plan you're in, whether it's going to be 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months. Meaning these news sites are going to purge articles off of their news sites after 1 month, after 3 months, or after 6 months. So with your anchor text optimization, understand and keep that kind of in the equation, right? So, maybe at any given time, you might have 3 or 4 or 5 articles live out on, say, 40 news sites on average. So be careful with your anchor text optimization. Don't get crazy. Don't over optimize it. Spread it around. Do some and vary things. Use naked links. Use some branded links. Use some optimized anchor text. use some words like click here and, other things that, so just vary it. That variance is your friend in everything you do in SEO and especially on our platform. Susan says, can I open a Grow account with my current agency and change later? Well, you can. So Susan, that's a good question. You can always go in and change your company information, your agency information. You can come in here, reseller information. You can change that at any given time if you rename, rebrand later. So the answer is yes, you can rebrand your agency account to a new name later. You could always open up a second account if you wanted to. And you could probably run both agency. Let's say you have a generalist agency and you have a niche agency. You could probably do both inside one account without any real problems.
She might be asking about changing the plan.
If Susan, if you're asking about changing the plan, the answer is also yes. You just simply come into so you would click on your name up here. You would click on account. And then once you come into your account options, you would click on membership and you'll be able to then upgrade here. You click on features. And if that's the one you want, you just simply hit purchase. And that'll take you from Grow plan to, Elite plan or Grow plan to Scale plan. So if the question is, how do I upgrade? Once I'm in Grow plan and I want to upgrade to Scale or I want to upgrade into the lifetime access later, then you just simply go inside your account, click on account, go over here to membership, and then choose the plan that you want to upgrade to, and off you go. Yeah, very easy. Knowledge base is your best friend. I've taken a lot of time to create videos. There's a video tutorials is a catch-all for almost everything because almost everything I do has a video associated with it, unless it's like a slide deck. And those are in marketing materials. But a lot of videos in here. So you can search the knowledge base for specific search terms. But if you come in here and you get to the getting started checklist and just really follow that checklist with the corresponding YouTube videos, it's going to walk you right through everything you got to do to get into your account, get your agency set up, deploy a media room for your own agency, because you ought to be using this for your own company or companies, not just clients. We do that. We use it for all of our companies. So, use it for yourself. And that's step 4 here, deploying a media room for your own agency. There's a video on how to do that. And then follow the Google Doc, the blueprint. And then, search, the knowledge base for other things as you see fit. We do have a Facebook group. So if you have questions on how to or strategy that our knowledge base doesn't touch on, you can ask those questions in our knowledge base. And then if you have true bugs or issues with your account that are kind of bug related, then that's what we have, an integrated support desk. All you got to do is click on support and then click on ticket desk, and you can add a ticket very simply and easily right here. You don't got to go create an account on Zendesk or Freshdesk. We have a direct integration with Teamwork here, and so it's nice and simple and easy. That ticket goes in, our support desk will handle it and get back to you. But the support desk is reserved for bugs and bug related issues, how to, strategy, all of that. Knowledge base, our Facebook group, or our weekly AMA sessions. So I do weekly AMA sessions, and I have more to upload to the knowledge base. They're all on our YouTube channel, by the way. I just haven't uploaded many of them into our knowledge base to update that as well. I need to get that done. But we do have those on a weekly basis every Wednesday at 10 a.m. So for users that have more questions like this, come to our AMA session, ask your questions, and I answer them every Wednesday. So we're doing that because the pace of our app channels is going to increase. We're going to be releasing a lot of app channels in the next 90 days. We were already going to be kind of well into that already, but with our developer out with kidney stones, which kind of put a little bit of a damper on things, but we've got quite a few app channels and things done and pretty much ready to go. So the pace of releases of our app channels is going to pick up here through the end of the year into Q1 of next year. And we release new app channels like Facebook and Instagram and Facebook reviews and Google posting and medium.com and what have you, as we release those app channels, we're having those weekly AMA sessions so that our users can kind of just pop in there and keep up with the pace of what's going to start happening here. So anyway, that's how to get plugged in if and when you get into our platform with a grow account, a scale account, or an elite account. Patrick says, I'd like to suggest to those of us on the call who are wondering if you should join Signal Genesys. In the last GMB Masterclass Reloaded, William was able to rank SOD install St. Louis GMB just by optimizing the GMB and website and using Signal Genesys for press releases. That's it. That's the only other thing that we do, Patrick, in our SEO campaigns is we add in Yext and an aggregator subscription for just good authoritative, listings and citations. Other than that, we're using Signal Genesys for moving the needle in the rankings for 80 to 90% of all of our campaigns and nothing else. There are always going to be those more challenging campaigns. You know how it is. There's markets that are like that. There's competitive markets where the competitors are just doing more. And so, in some of those cases, we do have to do more, but it's very, very rare. And I'm all about least common denominator to get the rankings, the results that we want to get. So the faster, the least that we have to do to get the ranking results that we want and need in the fastest amount of time possible is what I'm always looking for. That's kind of like the holy grail. That's, and so if I can get my rankings with just using Signal Genesys and these least common denominators, then I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do more if I don't have to, especially for 70 to 80% of the time. So yeah, it will definitely work, guys. We're not a press release platform. We're not a news network platform. We're a signal generation engine, and the way we execute this is proprietary. It's unique. You're going to be seeing some things. You'll see how we execute, but our software is doing quite a bit in the background to help get the results that Patrick is referring to, that William refers to, that we refer to. And we also have a fair amount of other agencies on our proof page that use our platform to get the same results we were just talking about. So yeah, the system works really, really well. You really don't have to use anything else in the majority of the cases that you're going to encounter as an agency doing SEO for either your rank and rents or for direct client work. That's about it for questions tonight, guys. And we are at, wow, we're at an hour and a half already. Damn, that went fast. If there's no other questions, we can call it a night. We're at 9:30 here. So I'll go ahead and expedite anyone who fills out a Grow Plan account tonight still. I'll look for that before I hit the sack tonight. I'll approve you guys if you apply tonight. Make sure and mention that you're in William. There's on our Grow Plan account, there is a question of how you heard about us. Make sure you mention William's name, how you heard about us, so that I know you're coming in from the master class. Okay. Susan, you bet. Great to have you guys here. Patrick, thanks for your input, insights, and feedback. All the great questions. Thank you, Aaron, Zacchaeus. Who else? Aaron. Yeah, all you guys who asked. Ariel, great questions. Appreciate your time and attention tonight. You guys have a great Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy it if that's something that you celebrate. And we certainly are grateful for William and his support of our platform, and certainly all of you guys who are users and our fans. We super appreciate all that you guys do for us as users. Thank you. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you guys again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.